The following program contains scenes and language of a frank and explicit nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
This is The Loud List, where our random, rowdy, and raunchy band of misfits create top 10 lists of life's most insane shit. Be scared. Nothing is off limits. So congratulations.
You just made the list!
I'm the music god CJ Plain, and this is another episode of The Loud List. We took a 1 week hiatus the other week because, quite frankly, I was just so busy. I didn't get it done. And then last week, we brought you the top 10 best 80s animated series. And this week, once again, I have the honor of having the incredible Bill V over here. And we're going to do some horror movie chat because Halloween is coming up. And, it's that time of year. Should be watching good horror movies all year long, but, cut you a little slack. Gotta watch them this time of the year, though. And with that, we're going to talk about some horror movies. But first, he's going to introduce himself for those of you who have not heard him before. He's going to tell you who he is, what he does, and all that good stuff. How are you, fine sir?
Well, thank you. Thank me. Thank you. Thank everybody. Thank the audience for listening. Thank the God's green earth that we're here. And let's get into this topic because anybody who hasn't listened to me before, my name is Bill Van Vagel. I've been for about 7 years now a co-host of the horror podcast Land of the Creeps. I also have my own podcast called Music, Movies, Sports, and Stuff, where we talk movies, sports, stuff, and music. And we get into all kinds of genres and all kinds of topics and all kinds of conversations. But to me, every day is like Halloween. It's none of these 31 days of October. I watch one every day regardless. I'm at just over 280 movies watched this year of all genres, but I think all but about 10 of them have been horror. 2025 films, but I've also watched silent era films. So I watch it all. I've watched thousands upon thousands of horror movies. I look forward to this topic, and Chris got us going on a good one here, so I can't wait to get going.
So for this week, we batted the subject around a little bit to I suggested top 10 favorite horror movies, and he said, well, let's do this. And we settled on the top 10 underwatched horror movies, or top 10 horror movies that should be seen by more people or should be watched more often, whatever. And I had about half of my list immediately because there were 5 movies on my list that I watch religiously, but I know they're lesser known movies and I've never really heard anyone else talk about them much. So we'll see how my list compares to his. Obviously, he's going to have a lot more experience talking about horror movies than he does. I don't get to discuss it much. But with that said, do you have any honorable mentions?
I do. And let me just say that I started with about a list of 15 and I whittled them down to 10. Actually, I had up to 25 of them, but I'm like, no. Whittle them away, and these are my 5 that didn't quite hit the list. So I'm going to start with a British movie called Inbred, which is about a group of youth that have been dealing with the law, and they have to deal with this community in northern England, and let's just say things go astray, and there's a circus atmosphere. I'm going to go with Possum, which was a really good British one a couple years back about a guy coming back home to meet with his dad who also has a marionette of a possum. Let's just put it that way. Dead of Night, 1945, is the first anthology horror film that I know of, and I'm pretty sure it probably is. And it's got the original creepy doll in it. So check out Dead of Night. Check out Race with the Devil, Peter Fonda. Right in the height of that satanic panic. And it's a good one. And The Prowler, 1981, 1982, I can't remember the exact year, slasher. Let's just say it doesn't get the hype that some of the other ones do, but it's just as darn good, at least it is to me.
So you definitely answered one of my questions already, whether you would know one of my ones. So we'll burn that bridge.
I've forgotten more obscure movies than more people know.
Yeah. And anyways, so I have three honorable mentions. One's is a little newer. Well, they're all newer-ish. My honorable mentions. The first one is a sort of a punk slasher horror psychological one called Green Room.
Oh, Green Room.
Yeah,
Jeremy Saulnier.
randomed into that completely just by clicking around. Saw that it had a skinhead theme and thought, you know what, always a good thing to see skinheads get messed up. So
I considered that for my list.
So the second one is a movie that just has some real wild weirdness in it. It's actually a horror western. It's a movie called Bone Tomahawk.
Oh, there's a scene in that you're not going to soon forget.
Couple of scenes. And then the third one is another punk themed horror movie. My buddy told me about it. And at first I wasn't that interested. It didn't really kind of sound like something I care about. Then he told me the title. And I immediately was like, okay, I got to see the movie just because of the title. It's a movie called Uncle Peckerhead.
Oh, I love that film. I love that.
He was telling me about the film, about, it's this emo punk band, blah, blah, blah. And I was saying, like, he's talking about it, and I was like, okay, yeah, maybe. He goes, it's called Uncle Peckerhead. And I was like, okay, I gotta see it just based on the name alone. Like there's gotta be something either totally gross or totally cool if you come up with the name of Uncle Peckerhead. So, and
if you like Uncle Peckerhead, check out a movie called Suck.
Yeah.
And have you seen that one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, you've seen that one too with Alice and Henry Rollins and
yeah,
a whole Carol Pope, and there's a whole bunch of them in there.
I watched Uncle Peckerhead, and I kept thinking to myself, the only thing that would have made this movie better is if Sid Haig would have played the role. Like, it was such a Sid type of role. And you could tell he's kind of trying to do Sid a little bit, but it would have been a role that Sid would have just absolutely
or the tall guy from Land of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah.
He would have been interesting too.
Yeah, it's just the mannerisms that he had, the way he spoke and all that. It's just, I kept thinking, like, this would have been a role that Sid would have just clowned the shit out of. But that is my honorable mentions. So, as they say in the movies, let's take it from the top. What you got at number 10?
Number 10. Okay, so just to let the audience know, I had to walk a bit of a balancing act, and Chris did the same, where we had to walk that line between obscure and just ones that might be movies that are somewhat known but just didn't get the audience.
Yeah.
And there is a difference, but the way that we've put our list together, it kind of melds together. So I'm just going to throw this out there. Say a movie like Gremlins, you might not think as widely seen as you think it should be, could be on this list, as well as some obscure 1970s German horror. Like it all fits on the same list. So that's why some of you might be saying, Bill, why did you talk about this one? Because I know it. Or, Bill, why did I talk about this one? I have no bloody clue what it is. So let's begin with that premise. All right, I'm going to start with one on Land of the Creeps. We've been doing for the last, a couple years. We'll take a decade and then we'll go year by year and we'll do a countdown top 5 per year. So we've done the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. I think we're going on to the 2000s next. I want the 60s, but they don't think there's enough meat on the bone there. I'm going to go with one from 1997 that I had just done a couple months back, and that is Funny Games. Now, Funny Games was a film that the Americans did a remake of a couple years later. I'm going to say 2002, 2003, that kind of thing. And it's not bad. It's not a bad one either. It's like Let the Right One In. The Americans did a version as well. But the 1997 Belgian version.
I forgot about that one.
Is fantastic. It, to me, is one of the gold standards of home invasion terror. And what makes it scary is it could happen. Like a lot of horror movies are fantastic. And I don't mean fantastic as in great, fantastic as in the concept is out there. Funny Games isn't.
Right.
It is one that very much could happen, but it has that European sense of it will show brutality, but not more than is needed. Just enough that is needed to further the plot. And so some of the things that happen off stage, but you might hear them, or you might see a shadow, or you might see a ricochet. It's a family that gets, let's just say, some confidence men get in there and they get into the house and the family gets held hostage. And there's certain situations where things could have been taken a little further that weren't, but that kind of adds to the atmosphere. I think Funny Games is the original. Now, it's subtitled, so you're going to have to get used to that. Me, it's second nature. I can watch two subtitled movies at the same time. That's no big deal. But other people, it detracts for them. Forget that. A good movie is a good movie.
Yeah.
And Funny Games is fantastic. So check out Funny Games.
I watch a lot of like Thai. I don't want to say Thai, but
Yeah,
a lot of
Taiwanese.
stuff from like a lot of stuff from like Thailand and stuff like the Raid 2, The Night Comes for Us, or The Night Comes for Them, stuff like that. So I see a lot of subtitles.
Thank God I got bifocals because that'll pick up the bottom part and the rest of the glasses will pick up the middle part.
I forgot totally about Let the Right One In. That is such a great movie. I watched that after. There's another one on my list, and I'll talk about Let the Right One In when I talk about the other one, because I watched that one after I watched this one, and it's the two movies that made me realize that there are really great foreign movies in places other than where I normally watch them from.
Yeah.
So my number 10, one of the very first horror movies I ever saw from the early 70s. I think it's 1974, if I remember correctly. But I was pretty young, and it scared me because it was one of them films that was kind of could be realistic. It's a movie called Alice, Sweet Alice.
Sweet Alice, the young Brooke Shields.
It was just one of the movies where I lived in the country, and families marrying as families marry. There was always, every family had that one disturbed member. So, it was kind of like, whose family is going to be the one with the psychopath that ends up going on a killing spree. So that's my number 10. It's, like I said, it's one of the very first horror films I ever saw. And I was at someone else's house, because my dad wasn't big on me watching stuff because I took stuff really literal when I was a kid. So that's my number 10.
Yeah, that often gets mentioned when you look up lists of lesser known slashers, under the radar, diamonds in the rough, that kind of thing. Although young Brooke Shields.
I think it's one that a lot of people forget, kind of.
Yeah, because it doesn't have.
They forget they've seen it.
It doesn't have an iconic killer. Like it doesn't have, like any, standard scenes that'll make your eyes bug out. So it kind of gets swept underneath there. That's why I almost put The Prowler on the list. Same era. Although Alice, Sweet Alice was late 70s. So it predated.
Was it late 70s? I thought it was like 74.
I think it was a touch later, maybe 76.
Oh, that might have been.
Might be 70s. Right. Yeah, you could be. My memory's about as good as a mosquito, so. All right. So my number 9 is, again, I had to sit and think about how much do I dive into my Euro films, because there'll be a whole whackload of films that 95% of the audience will never know. But there's one that I think whenever I see the question up a lot in the horror groups and various groups, and they'll say, what is the best movie with a plot twist? What's the best revenge film? And I always go to The House on the Edge of the Park, 1980, exactly, 1980. And it's one of my favorite horror characters. It's an absolute jerk. And that's David Hess. And David Hess has a history of playing these type of characters of very little morality, just thinking of his middle member and depravity. And in this movie, a group of guys go down and they finagle their way down to a cottage house, having a private party in a secluded area. and let's just say the tables get switched, and it gets downright brutal at times. But I like David Hess and what's his buddy Radicchio, the other guy that's in there that dances in his underwear. Oh, what's his name here? Giovanni Lombardo Radice.
Okay.
He's in a few of those grindhouse kind of films of that era. He was in Cannibal Ferox 2. He was in Cannibal Apocalypse. He was in a bunch of films. I really enjoy this. It's a mean film, but it's not too mean that it will knock anybody with any amount of backbone to them from watching.
My number 9. You guys are going to laugh at me over the fact that I just recently saw this movie for the first time.
If it's Psycho, I'm laughing.
No, I just saw this movie for the first time. I've heard the title a billion times. I'd never actually seen the damn movie. I came up on my Plex thing, and I thought, you know what? I like this actor. Seen all his other stuff. Probably time to watch this one. It's the film Bubba Hotep.
Oh, Bubba Hotep.
I
With the black president.
I've seen the majority of Bruce Campbell's films. I've never seen Bubba Hotep. So I sat down and I watched it, and it was kind of like, okay, this is kind of a, mix of it's Bruce Campbell. I mean, it's
Bruce Campbell's silliness. That's what this film is. Yeah.
So, it was a decent movie, and I've never really I've heard the name a bunch of times, and I've never really heard anyone talk about it per se, or I've never actually seen a podcast episode where they actually talked about it much, other than maybe in passing. So I stuck it on the list just because it was recent and it popped into my head, and I'm like, you know what?
A few funny penis lines.
Yeah,
but not how you'd think. It's funny, and there's a good fight scene, if you want to call it that, at the end. It's pretty funny. Okay, number 8 is one from one of the most powerful directors in Hollywood that not enough people have seen this film. And this was originally, what year is it? 72, 71, made for TV movie from Steven Spielberg called Duel.
Duel?
A business Duel, Duel. Originally, it was a made-for-TV movie, but I believe they lengthened it and released it theatrically in Europe. But don't hold me to that, but I think that's how the story goes. A business commuter is pursued and terrorized by the driver of a massive tractor trailer. It's directed by Steven Spielberg, and it stars essentially Dennis Weaver.
Okay.
And Dennis Weaver is a businessman driving home. It's a hot day, and he's driving the desert. I think he's out in Arizona or California, Nevada, somewhere out that way. And he's driving home. He's got his jacket on and his collared shirt. There's a guy in a huge 18-wheeler behind him and won't let him go.
I saw this.
Did you see this?
It's
kind of that. I think it's
like he's driving like a 10 New Yorker or something, right?
Yeah, he's like driving like a Delta 88 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like just one of those kind of.
Yeah, it's like a convertible.
Yeah. And it's on these, it's part of the American highway system, but it's not one of the major highways. You're only driving it to get from X to Y. And it's the isolation.
Yeah.
It's the lack. Again, another horror movie that's scary because it could happen. You could be driving that car and that bastard behind you won't let you go. And so Duel, if you've never seen Duel, check it out. I don't think, you could probably rate it G. No swearing, no violence, no nudity, no blood. I don't even think there's any blood. There's a car crash scene. There's some explosions, but it's just tense. And it might be the most tame film on this list, but it's also, if you've never seen it, it is one of the scariest. It's written by Richard Matheson, who did all kinds of horror books and screenwriting, and he did the one for Last Man on the Earth. That's Richard Matheson. Like, it's a quality writing. And Dennis Weaver, if you've ever seen McCloud, I mean, how much of the audience has seen McCloud? I don't know, but
Right.
but Dennis Weaver does a really good job. It's just any man. Like really, he's not, he's not a superstar. He's not a Bruce Willis. He's not going to go through the duct work to shoot somebody. He's just trying to get home.
Yeah. I have seen it. I downloaded a movie pack from Internet Archives that had like 15 or 20 movies in it. They were like trucker and van ploitation movies, and it was one of them. And
So you got a funny, you got Road Games, you got The Hitcher, you got Christine,
I got like
Vanishing Point.
I got like all 6 of the movies that were made about, the van ploitation movies of the Shaggin' Wagon vans from the 70s and the 80s. There were like 6 major ones made, Blue Chair, a couple other ones. But I also had Duel. I had, I think, one called Highway to Hell, Road to Hell, something like that.
Yeah.
And a few other odds and end movies. Had Maximum Overdrive, which we won't talk about.
That machine called me an asshole.
Oh, but yeah, it didn't like click with me. And then when you said Dennis Weaver, I was like, that's the one where he's driving like the convertible through the desert.
Yeah, kind of it's like a tan or a green vehicle.
It's kind of like a tannish.
Yeah.
Tannish, like you said, a New Yorker or a Delta 88, something like that.
Yeah.
So my number 8, another movie I saw a while back. It was kind of a cute movie, and it had some good kind of horror comedy to it. I kind of like the premise of it. Small little idyllic town, 3 friends. One's a werewolf, one's a vampire, one's a zombie. Everyone's living under the radar until aliens attack. And they have to gang together to defeat the aliens. It is a movie called Freaks of Nature.
I think I've seen it once, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's a group of teenagers basically who take on aliens. It has a lot of Jonah Hill type humor in it.
Would you call it a teen film?
I don't know if I'd go so far as to say it's a teen film. It's a teen-centered film, but it's got situations in it that are definitely more adult, and it's got like good, slasher type. It's got a lot of like 80s slasher type stuff as far as the kill scenes and all of that. It's kind of a throwback film a little bit. So
so it's kind of a Monster Squad kind of thing.
Yeah, very very much a Monster Squad type of film. Yes. Okay. Now that you mentioned that.
I've got a Freaks of Nature 2013, 2015.
Yep. I think it's two. Let me see. I am pretty sure it's a 2015.
Is it the one with Key from Key and Peele?
Yes.
Okay.
2015.
Yeah. Okay. Dark comedy, parody, satire, vampire comedy, horror, sci-fi. They threw the whole kitchen sink at you.
Vampire humans and zombies used to get along in Guilford, but then something unexpected arrived, and now it's humans versus vampires versus zombies in an all-out Mortal Kombat.
Wow.
It's up to 3 teenagers to try to get them back to normal.
Oh, boy. Actually, that sounds pretty good. I'm going to have to check that one out. I might have seen it.
It's got Bob Odenkirk in it.
Oh, Bob Odenkirk is in it. Oh.
Yeah, and Vanessa Hudgens, and it's got Dennis Leary's in it, Keegan-Michael Key. It's got a lot of very tongue-in-cheek humor, but there's some like good 80s style splat.
I mean, there is a chance I've seen it, but if I have seen it, I need to watch it again, obviously.
Yeah. I don't know exactly how popular this one was. It's a movie I've never heard anyone else really talk about, but given the fact that Michael Keegan Key's in it, probably is more popular than I think it is. But cute movie.
No, I can tell you it's not. It's at least on our podcast, it doesn't get brought up very often. So
yeah. So number 7 for you.
Get on you, digging up one. I'm going to go with one that's close to my heart. Being Canadian, I have a soft spot for Canadiana films. But secondly, I like a really good, dark, deep torture porn. And this movie is kind of the grandfather of that. And that's 1997's Cube. And Cube is about a group of people that get kidnapped but zapped from their existence where they are, and they're thrown into a maze that's literally a 3D cube. And they have to do these series of tests of strength, of wits, of knowledge, of you have to be calm, you have to be able to do it under pressure to get through this maze without getting eviscerated, without getting sliced in half. It's very claustrophobic. Everybody's in a small set. I think my good buddy Hugh Lloyd described it as if they had any money left over, they used every last dime because they milked that set for everything. You'd flip around a few backgrounds or a few of the walls, and then you got your next stage. And it's this group dynamic. It's the not knowing who's going to survive, if anybody's going to survive, how they're going to get killed, if they're going to get killed. It's very quote unquote Canadian. You can tell it's not a Hollywood polished product. But if they had an extra 50 grand, who knows how much better it would have been, I love a small space horror film. And this is a small space horror film. So I don't know if you've seen it, Chris, or no?
I have not seen it. I've seen trailers for it. I've seen people talk about it, not like podcast wise, but I've had like friends discuss it when we're discussing films. But I've never. I think it has like Jennifer Lopez, right?
No, it has nobody that you'll know.
Okay.
Yeah, that was The Cell. Was it The Cell?
Yeah, I think that's that's the one I'm thinking of is The Cell.
Yeah, that one I saw in the theater. It's like 96, 97, 98, that kind of. No, Cube.
I may not be thinking of Cube. I may be thinking of Cell.
Yeah, the biggest name on Cube, Julian Richings.
Okay.
Wayne Robson. Like it's not, and it's maybe like 90 minutes. It's literally an hour, 30 minutes. So it's possible people listening who are sci-fi fans that aren't horror fans have seen this, because it's you could also take it from the sci-fi end of it as well. But yeah, enjoy. If you haven't seen Cube, check her out.
My number 7, I watched this movie mainly because of who the big star is in it. I really don't know how to describe this movie other than it has a lot in common with my number 1, and it's pretty much just sort of a splatter film.
I love a good splatter.
Yeah, totally crazy premise, but it works, and there's some really great kill shots in this film. It's definitely a low budget film. It's never going to be accused of. It would fit squarely in the Lloyd Kaufman trauma style.
Oh, it's funny. Tonight I saw the new Toxic Avenger.
Oh,
and Lloyd's got a cameo in that.
Yeah, I don't.
I won't spoil anything. Peter Dinklage is pretty good. He's pretty good. Anyways, continue.
Anyways, my number 7 is a movie starring Robert Englund. It is called 2001 Maniacs.
Oh, 2001. This one with Robert Englund.
Yeah, is it England?
Oh, yeah,
England.
Robert Englund. Yeah, that's the remake of the Herschel Gordon Lewis film.
Yes.
Yep.
Is it a remake or a sequel? I kind of got the impression.
Oh, well, no, okay, not a remake. I would say it's a like continuation of the story.
Sequel. Yeah, like a continuation.
Yeah, it's like the hillbilly universe.
Yeah, so basically a bunch of college kids from Florida who get sick of everyone coming to Florida for spring break decide to break with tradition and go north. Along the way, they wander into a southern town of doing a Confederate celebration, and part of that celebration is killing Yankees. So the whole town is basically full of serial killers who are Confederate, whatever, and some cute lines, a lot of splatter. Just one of the movies you kind of watch it just for the.
You watch it for the lamb for the slaughter.
Yeah, you kind of watch it just to see the many different ways that they kill these. Yeah.
You look for lots of cleavage, over the top kills, and just fun.
And the Florida kids are really obnoxious. So kind of about halfway through, you kind of start cheering for the Confederates just because.
Have you seen the original 2000 Maniacs?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
In looking this up, I didn't realize there was one before.
okay.
So now that I know that, I'm like, okay, now I'm going to have to go back and watch that one because
it's 30 years earlier. It's low budget as well. Herschel Gordon Lewis was the godfather of gore. So yeah.
So yeah, that's my number 7, 2001 Maniacs. And
Yeah,
there's a third one as well. There's a sequel.
Oh, it is. I didn't realize there's a third one. Is there a third one?
Yeah, it's called, because apparently in the next one, because of all the news coverage, blah, 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 nobody comes south. So they take their circus on the road and end up in Minnesota or in Iowa at a corn festival and end up killing all the. So, it basically turns on 2001 Maniacs meets Children of the Corn. So I haven't seen that one though. I downloaded it to watch because I thought if I'm gonna watch one, I might as well see the other. So
yeah, start with the original and then work your way down. Okay, so my number 6 is one that it's on Tubi, and I found this film by pure accident one day years ago, but I've gone back to it many times because it's dark. It's dark, and it's about it's about bullying. It's about brotherly love. It's about a mystery. It's about treating your fellow man a certain way. It's about friendship. It's called Found from 2012. And let me describe it for you. The IMDb description is this: a horror-obsessed boy discovers his older brother is a serial killer. How he finds out, I'm going to leave it to you. There's a subplot where the one boy, the younger brother, has a friend who's a horror friend, and they watch a movie called Headless, which is brutal. And it's another film that you can pick up and rent called Headless. And it's a gore fest, and they're both gore friends. But he's getting beaten up at school. He's getting picked on. He's getting bullied, and the brother gets back at his bullies. And then there's a clash between the oldest son and the dad and the parents. And the one thing that bothers me in films are those death screams. And you get a couple death screams in this. Like if you've seen Rituals, if you've seen I Spit on Your Grave, you've heard those death screams. This is right up there. And it'll put the hairs on your chest standing, or your nipples will be poking, because this is going to get you going.
I wanted to put I Spit on Your Grave on my list, but I thought, I think that's a movie that pretty much everyone knows. So probably not as underwatched as,
No, I think a lot of people, that's one of those rites of passage films.
Yeah. And that was another one that I saw shortly after Alice, Sweet Alice.
I
won't tell you how I saw it, but I ended up seeing it and was kind of like.
The bathroom scene is the one horror scene that gets to me to this day. When she reaches under that carpet, under that rug. Oh boy. But yeah, Found is it's just dark and deep. It's low budget, but you're not going to forget it.
Cool. I'm definitely going to go back and watch these.
Keep a list.
I've got a running list. My number 6, I saw it last year. I was amused by it. As someone who grew up with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, watching this movie reminded me of the Power Rangers in a lot of ways. The characters, the way it was written, and just a lot of the sort of action style. It's a movie called PG, Psycho Gorman.
Psycho Gorman. Astral, that's, what is it? Vestron 5? It's a Canadian company, Vestron.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Canadian science. Stephen
Kostansky, yep.
Let me see. Canada says production company is Raven Banner Entertainment.
Okay.
But it was one of the movies I didn't really have any expectations when I watched it. The kids made it cuter than it should have been, but at the same time, it had some cool effects, and it was very Power Rangerish to me. So I thought,
there's that whole scene where they play basketball.
For a movie that I really had no expectations of, it was much better. And there's supposed to be a second one being made or something. So we'll see how that pans out.
Yeah, that one's you're either gonna love it or you can't stand it. It's one of
Yeah.
those divisive. Yeah, I mean, to me, I didn't mind it. I wasn't a big fan of the some of the Japanese anime and all that stuff that has that accentuates that. But at the same time, I can appreciate its practical effects. It's just silly. Put your brain at the door and watch the film.
Yeah. That's
That's what it
pretty
is.
much.
I mean, there's the whole thing about the wife and the husband and that dynamic, and there's a whole bunch of
Yeah.
stuff to it. But yeah, yeah,
Whole
not a bad film.
intergalactic thing was kind of,
Yeah, like it's silly. Some of it you'll go like, really?
just keep in mind it's very Power Rangers influence, so that tells you anything. But anyways,
Okay.
number 5. What do you got at number
My
5?
number 5. Now, you brought up Green Room. Well, I there's a reason I know Jeremy Saulnier, the director, because yes, he did Green Room, but before that, he did a horror film perfect for the horror Halloween time of year, and that's called Murder Party. And
Oh,
Murder Party was his debut. So if you haven't seen Murder Party, check it out. Because what ends up happening is it's a low budget. This one guy who's a bit of an introvert, he's a bit of a loser, call him what you will. I don't use those terms, but that's what you would use as the vernacular. And he finds a ad on the ground blowing by that's an invitation to a Halloween party. So he just assumes, oh, it was coming for me anyways, whatever. He picks it up and he goes to this party. Well, it's in an abandoned artistic warehouse surrounded by people that are ne'er do wells that are also local independent artists that are protesting the building about to be condemned or shut down, or they're going to use it for a parking lot. And so the party's in there, and the guy makes up his own costume with cardboard and wax and tape and pencil crayons, and he becomes some kind of superhero creature. And they basically want to kill him when he gets there. And it's there. How do they get around to it? What happens to these other characters? Or does he spin it and he somehow kills a couple of them and gets out? You're going to have to watch to find out. But there's tributes to the movie The Warriors. There's tributes to other horror films. It's obviously very tongue in cheek, but it gets bloody towards the end. It really gets bloody. And so if you like your horror movies with a bit of a quirk, you want to see where Saulnier started, you want a fun movie, check out Murder Party.
I have not seen it, but knowing it's by the same person, I will check it out for sure. My number 5 is a Norwegian movie sent to me by a friend. And this is a movie that actually led to me watching Let the Right One In, because I liked this one so much that I thought, hey, I wonder if this is any other horror-ish type Norwegian, Swedish type films. This is a Christmas horror film.
Okay, this narrows it down to 2 for me.
It's a movie called Rare Exports.
Rare Exports, okay. That's the one where he wears the Jofa helmet, the hockey helmet.
Yes.
The kid is a Jofa. That's the
It's
same one.
Yeah. It's where they dig up Santa Claus, except Santa isn't Santa. Santa is Krampus.
Yep.
So I had never really, I saw maybe 1 or 2 films from like Sweden, Norway, Finland, all of that. None that had ever been horror influenced. And when I started watching it, I was kind of like, okay, this is kind of dumb. But then it started getting much better. And once the plot actually kicks in, it has some very cool, quirks to it. And not the most bloody movie you'll see as far as like kills and that kind of stuff, but it's one of the movies that's more, it's one of the movies you show the kids to kind of,
as I like to say, it's a gateway horror.
Yeah, like like if you want to fuck with the kids about Santa Claus, hey, this is what the real Santa Claus is like. You can show them this without like too much, blood, guts, and other chaos.
And it would still kind of keep that fantasy there, but at the same time, put a twist on it.
Yeah. Give them that little psychological trauma in the back of the brain,
That's it.
But it's a decent movie. It's well put together. And
it is.
Like I said, it led to me seeing Don't Let the Right One In, which is a really, really great movie. So well filmed, and the use of Let the Right One In is the use of black and white versus color, and the the way it's framed as a film, it's done so well, man. Like it's the shots, the particular shots that they chose for that film is just done so perfectly, you know, to be that.
If you want a good Scandinavian film to watch a 1970s grindhouse called The Sinful Dwarf. It's not a porno. It's not a porno.
But I'm scared just based on the title. You got it, number 4.
My number 4. These last 4 to me are some sacred cows. I love all of them for different reasons. This one I got for my number 4 is a Canadian film. What I like from a good horror film is smart writing. I mean, everybody can take their top off, get their head slashed, have their cell phone not work for them, their car break down. But can a story be unique and hold you? Another genre that's been overdone that I liked before it got overdone are zombie films. I'm going to go with 2008's Pontypool. I don't know if you've seen Pontypool. The main basis for the story is interesting. A radio host interprets the possible outbreak of a deadly virus which infects the small Ontario town he is stationed in. Stars Stephen McHattie. Stephen McHattie's been in lots of genre films, and he's been in Seinfeld. He's been in so many things over the years. What he does in this film is absolutely brilliant. He's a DJ. He's almost a Canadian version of a lesser Howard Stern in small town Ontario. There's nothing to talk about. The town just wants to know if the buses are running, if the mail is going, if the hockey rink is unlocked, whatever. Can we get into Tim Hortons? This is the middle of the winter. And all of a sudden, the world just starts to blow up. He gets reports of people dying, and then there's radio call-ins from the Sunshine Chopper, and it's a guy out there that tells you the news, except the world's just gone to hell. And you hear it. You very rarely see the zombies. You hear the zombies. You know what's going on around you. You hear the reports. And the way that the virus is transmitted is extremely unique. And that's what makes it well written. Stephen McHattie is so good in being over the top that, again, this might be a PG film. It might be PG-13 just based upon the scary situations. But again, no nudity. There's maybe a little bit of swearing. There's not a ton of blood. But it's that small space. You're entrapped in a 3,000 square foot radio station to save the world or the town of Pontypool. Can this radio DJ host do it? And go from being a pain in the ass DJ to the voice of the community. And that's why I like this film.
Very cool.
I was going to say the actual Pontypool is about 45 minutes from my house. And the only zombies I ever see are people lined up at the coffee shop.
That's a lot of small town. My number 4, I saw it a while back. It's a movie from 2001. It was I watched it because of the cover. I like a movie with a good killer clown in it.
Ooh.
And it had a killer looking clown on the cover. So I thought, you know what, let's take a chance. It's basically a horror version. It's almost a horror version of the Running Man movie.
Ooh.
It's a 2001 movie. It's called Slashers.
The name doesn't jump out to me right away.
It's a Japanese blood sport game show where contestants can win millions of dollars if they survive being hunted through various arenas by costume killers. All crimes are legal on the sets of the show, and what few rules there are, like having to remain motionless during commercials, are enforced by shot collars that the players and murderers must wear. The latest episode is an all-American special in which the 6 contestants will be pursued by newbie slasher Preacher Man and returning fan favorites Chainsaw Charlie and Dr. Ripper. So it's kind of got a Running Man theme of where, the 3 killers are hunting them across multiple things, and they essentially have to fight back to survive to win, movie. And there's comical parts, like where there's one part where Chainsaw Charlie catches up with the group, and just as he's about to kill him, a commercial kicks in. So he has to stop, like
mid-slash,
and sit for the commercial. And of course, they can't move because they're all wearing shot collars. So he has to wait to kill them, and they have to wait to be killed without moving So there's like some cool kind of, silliness involved in it. But it ended up being a pretty enjoyable film, kind of a cross between Running Man and Battle Royale, the Japanese film. So definitely one of the movies, turn your brain off to watch it. It's, a fantastical type movie. It's not a realistic type of movie in any way, shape, or form, or at least you would hope. But, you know, it's a cool 90-minute film that has some cool stuff in it. And, I had fun watching it. I'd probably go back and watch it again. So
Awesome. I honestly had never heard of this one. I'm glad to put it on my list. If we do the year 2000s in the next year, I'll be doing February. I'll be doing 2001 in February. So I'm definitely going to watch this one. That's for sure. I just hope I can find it somewhere.
yeah, it's not hard to find. As far
Okay.
as I know.
Well, then that means it's probably on YouTube, which means I can probably find it there. All right. So
I
my
think
number.
originally I watched it at Tubi, if I remember.
Oh, Tubi? Yeah. Well, between Tubi, Fossum, YouTube, Daily Motion, one of those, I'll find it. And I know a little bit of the gray sites that, those shall not
Right.
be mentioned. My number three is there's a sect of horror films that originated in Italy in the mid 60s till the early 80s called Giallo. Now, Giallo is named for back in the day in Italy at the airport, the drugstore, romance or fiction books were printed on yellow paper, and hence the name Giallo, because they were fantastic police serials, where there's usually beautiful women, a murderer, and you got to figure out who the murderer is. The murderer is almost always in a big, heavy jacket, dark boots, black gloves, is thin, and you see them from the point of view from their body out. And so there's your standard Giallo. Well, the movie to me it's not the first Giallo, but to me, the one that sets up all the others is The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, directed by Dario Argento. Anybody that knows anything about horror or directing or Italian direction knows Dario Argento is an absolute god. Deep Red, he did Suspiria, he did so many movies all the way, and he's still going to this day. He put out Dark Glasses a couple of years ago. He's prodigious in his abilities. But he starts it out here with there's a guy that witnesses a murder at across the street. There's a gallery, and they're behind pane glass, and he can't get at the girl that he sees getting killed. And he sees a murder take place. So you got your voyeuristic rear window. You've got the incompetent police that are following it along. You've got this writer in town that won't leave, that all of a sudden becomes Tom Selleck and he becomes a private eye. You've got the what's behind the name, the Crystal Plumage. You've got sexuality in a way that isn't necessarily shown in the early 70s. You've got whodunit. You've got a dramatic ending. And you've got the gold standard to me as to what makes up a Giallo. The Bird with the Crystal Plumage is one of those movies I'll pound the table for. So check it out.
And with that, I don't really have to say a whole lot about my number three, because he pretty much just described my number three. Different movie, but 99.5% of what he was talking about. It is an Italian film. It is my personal favorite horror, not my number one, because I don't think it's maybe underwatched as the other two. But to me, greatest ending of any movie ever. It is the 1982 film Pieces.
Pieces.
I fucking love Pieces.
Pieces plays that part of it's the first half sets it up, the second half you get at her.
Yeah, it's a lot of the same thing. Like it's the sexuality thing, the puzzle pieces, the killer, seeing it from the killer's viewpoint, the dark coat and gloves. A lot of what you talked about is in this type of Giallo.
But you get a Bruce Lee wannabe in Pieces.
It's one of the movies. I don't care how many times I watch it, I always forget about the ending. And then the ending pops up and I'm like, shit, why do I always forget that's gonna fucking happen? So to me, it's the greatest ending of any movie. Like, I love the ending.
Well, I mean, and the thing with Pieces, it almost borders at times on a bit of comedy because it's heavy
Yeah.
comedy in this film.
Yeah.
But it's not strictly Italian that it's so far out there you don't get it. Like it's just wacky,
Yeah.
goofy.
I mean,
Pieces.
it's really kind of, I don't want to call it a parody of all the other great horror movies of the time, but it's kind of like, okay, somebody sat and watched all of these horror movies and then wrote a movie with bits and pieces of all the other movies put together as a new sort of running movie.
And I mean, you've got a couple of the usual suspects. You got Linda Day George and you got Christopher George. I mean, those guys are in how many Italian films,
But it's one of the movies. I know it's not a great film, but Pieces kind of ranks up there for me with Iron Eagle. I don't care how bad it is. It's just one of the movies I can watch over and over again and just never get sick of seeing.
Yeah, it's my Roadhouse.
Yeah, like, and Iron Eagle is that way. I will watch Iron Eagle 2 to 3 times a year. I never get sick of seeing Iron Eagle. I know it's completely fantastical. I know it's completely just over the moon, unrealistic, but it's just, there's something cool about a 16-year-old kid stealing an F-16 fighter and flying across the road and saving that from the Middle East. Like,
That's one of those films you walk away smiling, even though there's a whole bucket of blood on the floor. You're still smiling.
So I love Pieces. Pieces is a movie. I never talk about Pieces enough. Like, it's just one of the films, and I love a good podcast if they start talking about.
One of the films I almost put on mine was Demons, where they go into the theater, and Demons, then all of a sudden, and that's another one that, I mean, Cemetery Man. There's all kinds of Italian ones that could have easily, The Beyond. You could have gone through Fulci. You could have gone through Argento. You could have gone, but a lot of them are not obscure. Whereas these ones I want to shine a light to.
Right.
My number 2 is one that I will pound the table for, and anybody that's listened to me on Land of the Creeps knows this. This one is borderline horror, but it involves a serial killer. It's spooky. The atmosphere is grave. Now, I really detest watching the serial killer films because I do not want to shed any light on the most abhorrent people in society. They do not deserve any credit for anything. They are the scum of the earth that deserve what they get. 10 Rillington Place, I take exception to because it changed the law. This is 1971, directed by Richard Fleischer, starring Sir Richard Attenborough and Judy Geeson and a young John Hurt. What happened to the women at 10 Rillington Place? The story of British serial killer John Christie, who committed most of all of his crimes in the titular terraced house, and the miscarriage of justice involving Timothy Evans. Richard Attenborough plays John Christie, who's about 5'3", 145 pounds, balding, glasses, unassuming, row-housing living man who would perform backdoor abortions on women of all ages and stuff them under his floorboards in the back garden and underneath the sink. He would get them underneath the mask with the anesthesia, assault them sexually if he was in the mood. Otherwise, he'd kill them and he'd stuff them somewhere. And the wife didn't realize what was going on or whatever, And there's a young couple with Judy Geeson and John Hurt. And she's in the family way, in the wrong way, as they say. And so she goes to have a procedure done. It goes awry, much with Sir John Attenborough, Richard Attenborough's doing. And she gets, I think she ends up getting stuffed underneath in the sewage. And she gets found. And John ends up getting the rap for it because he had exceptionalities. He was visibly slow. And he took the rap. He was dim-witted. He was killed, and they repealed the law as a result of this case. And John Christie was eventually found guilty. But Richard Attenborough plays him so well. You just hear the accent and I mean, this is a guy that, I've read about him. He would keep in a snuff box the pubic hair of his victims. Like this, we're talking about that level of depravity. But he had just a little bit of knowledge of the medical workings to be able to do this. And he was so unassuming that he got away with it for years. So check out 10 Rillington Place.
Cool. Speaking of British and killing, let's take a moment to, I know this is going to be very rude of me to say, but I don't care. Let's take a moment to celebrate the passing of Ian Watkins, who rightfully got what he should have got 12 years ago.
Let's just say it's natural justice.
Yes, when you're speaking of, Ian wasn't a killer, but when it comes to true scumbags of the British or, type, I would put him up to among the worst of them.
His level of depravity reached new levels.
Yes. So while I normally would not celebrate the death of another human, there are those certain human beings who simply need to be wiped off the face of the earth. That's how you handle them.
Yeah, there wasn't a big outcry.
Yeah, no, there wasn't. So with that said, my number 2 is a film. I saw it way back when it first came out. Didn't see it again for a number of years. Then I was on watching something about 3 months ago, and it popped up again. And I thought, oh, I remember that film. Let me go watch it. And it was just as stupid, but just as good as I remembered it. One of them 80s films that is so bad it's good.
That could be half of them.
Yes. But this particular one had a really kind of a different premise. Most had serial killers that were Jason-ish or Michael Myers-ish or whatever. This one had it was the depraved doctor type. It's a film starring Larry Drake called Dr. Giggles.
Dr. Giggles.
Something about that film, I wanted to hate it, but it was just one of them films that the laugh and I won't say the depravity, but his kind of demented character in it, he really leaned in to playing that character. And this was filmed right after he had played, basically the autistic character on LA Law. So it was quite a change to go from the sort of autistic-ish character to playing this demented dentist doctor dude. So I have a soft spot for Dr. Giggles. And,
yeah, I remember seeing Larry Drake as Darkman.
Yeah.
In theaters. But he's been in a lot of genre films, and he always does a good job. It just kind of I find that he doesn't overact per se. He just acts to what's needed.
Yeah,
Clifty Young was in this.
Kind of he leaned pretty hard into the dementedness of it, and it has almost a Rodney Dangerfield type of.
Well, it's very much tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
Very much.
So it's one of the movies where, again, if you're a fan of that era of horror films, probably like it. If you're a fan of newer films, probably not gonna like this one as much.
But it's one that if you like slashers, but you haven't dug that deep, you might want to check this one out for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely one that doesn't get mentioned nearly as much, and
it's a fun film. It's fun. My
a different watch. It's a good watch.
I got a really good buddy, Gary, who every time he says, that's not a real horror. A real horror is Dr. Giggles.
Nice.
All right. Yeah. Dr. Giggles. If anybody hasn't seen Dr. Giggles, it's a blast. Get some popcorn, sit with your girlfriend, watch this movie. It'll be, All right. So my number one, my Neil Peart intro is one that has my all-time favorite horror actor. And it's one of his that doesn't usually get brought up. He has many other films that, for whatever reason, get more spotlight, and they're not bad at all. But I happen to like this one, and that's Mr. Vincent Price, and that's 1973's Theater of Blood. I love this film. It's about Vincent Price plays an actor, Sir Edward Lionheart, who was a Shakespearean actor, and that's all he did. And he never felt he got the approval of the critics that he should have. And so I guess within London or within England, they had a series of awards for people on the stage. And because he kept playing Shakespearean actors, he kind of got overlooked. And he eventually committed suicide, or did he? And let's just say the judges to the awards start disappearing in fantastical ways. And they're so inventive and they're so creative. And you can tell that Vincent Price is just having a blast. And he's been quoted saying it's the movie he had the most fun making. So, Theater of Blood, it's got the great atmosphere. It's got the campiness that you're used to with Vince, but done in the best of ways. It's got a very dramatic Corman-esque ending. It's got some really good stage characters. It's got Ian Hendry. It's got Diana Rigg. It's got Robert Morley. It's got Coral Brown. These are all people that if you are into movies and cinephile, especially British movies around the mid-century of the 20th century, you'll know those names. There's a scene with Robert Morley involving a dog that you're not going to forget. I absolutely adore Theater of Blood. Anybody that hasn't seen it, please, 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 from Uncle Bill, check this out.
I have not seen this one. I've seen a lot of Vincent Price, but
yeah, this one was around the same time as Dr. Phibes.
You know, Vincent was very prolific during his life, so there is a lot of Vincent Price stuff to watch.
Yeah, I'm narrowing it down. I think I'm down to 2 of his horrors that I still have to see, but he did a lot of westerns. He did a lot of not giallos, but police procedurals back in the 30s and 40s. He did a lot of that kind of stuff. And then he got into the horror and it kind of took off from there.
Yeah. So my number one is a movie. A buddy posted it. I loved the cover of it. So I rushed out to find it. I found it. I watched it. Was completely shocked and appalled by it. Just kind of how gross it was, some of the scenes, and then proceeded to forget it. And when we brought up this list, I was like, I want this as my number one. Could not think of the goddamn title of the film. So I went back to my buddy and I said, hey, got a question for you. About 4 or 5 years ago, you posted a film. You saw it at a Comic-Con, and I described it to him, and he's like, I don't remember that at all. And I was like, God damn it. I'm on Google. I'm searching every possible way I know to search. It keeps coming up with the same results. It's not the one I'm looking for. And he goes, tell me more about the film. And I tell him more. And I was like, I had a really colorful cover in blah, blah, blah. And he goes, oh, I know what it is. And he goes over to his thing and he pulls it out. He goes, it's this one. I said, yes, that's it. That's the one. It is the 2011 film. I think it's 2011. Yes. You mentioned it in your honorable mentions. It is a movie that is grotesque, has some of the sickest and greatest kills in a horror movie. It is the English movie Inbred.
Oh, you chose him. I literally had it on that line this morning. I took it off for Funny Games.
Yeah, I when I saw the movie, it wasn't quite as gross as, say, Hostel or some of those movies, Sarajevo movie. But for the type of movie it was, there were some spots where it was really fucking gross. And I was kind of sitting there going, like the part where they tie him to the chair and pump him full of shit. And his, I
like the elephant stomp.
There were a few spots where I was kind of holding my tummy like, that's really fucking gross. But at the same time, you're kind of like, that's actually a really great fucking kill scene. Like, a lot of originality in this one. I mean, you've kind of seen the premise a few times, but, the city kids go up to do community service, end up basically setting off the town folk, which are the inbreds, and they turn it into this circus type of, like you said, this sort of circus type of thing of.
It's not often you see blackface anymore.
Yeah. There's so many aspects of this movie that will gross you out, shock you, or just appall you. It's really one of the movies, like, when you watch it, you're going to want to talk about it because it's just got some great, and I've kind of waited for there to be a part 2 or a second part. Nothing's come of it.
But you could make a part 2 that's completely unrelated to the first one, just with the same basic kind of premise.
Right. And that's why I said it's loosely related to the 2001 Maniacs. It kind of has that same premise of strangers coming to town, townspeople.
But what I like about it is it holds out hope right till the end until it's dashed.
Right.
Yeah, it's very much like another movie I could have put on here, Wolf Creek.
Yeah.
Where the good guy don't win. Oops, is that a spoiler? That's a spoiler.
But Inbred is just one of the movies. When Cody posted it, I really liked the cover. Like it had that sort of weird Texas Chainsaw Massacre type of cover, but it had these psychedelic colors. So I thought that's kind of cool looking. Let me check it out.
The guy that plays the main older gentleman that kind of runs the town, it seems like a really good actor. I got to look into him because he looks like he has like a really good enthusiasm. He's got the facial features. He's got the inflection. Yeah, I enjoy that film. That's one of those ones when people say, "What's one you can recommend people haven't seen?" That 10 Rillington Place and Pontypool are usually the ones I bring up.
Yeah, that's Seamus O'Neill is the one.
Yeah, Seamus. Yeah. Is he a good Irishman or a good Scot? Seamus would be, I think, Scottish.
He's actually from Yorkshire, England.
Oh, he's English. Oh, okay.
So he's actually from the very town that they filmed the movie in. So.
Oh, really? Oh, maybe he is part of the community.
Because the film is actually filmed in Yorkshire. So, and he was born and raised in Yorkshire. He's also been in Dead Man's Shoes, War Horse, and Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit.
Have you seen Dead Man's Shoes?
No.
That's a heck of a film. Anybody out there listening who hasn't, it's not a horror. It's a fantasy drama with but a bit of grit to it. It's worth watching.
But yeah, my number one is Inbred, just because I promise you it's one of the movies when you see it, you are going to want to talk about it. Like,
but it may be kind of gross,
or a friend or whatever. But
it may be kind of gross, but it's also kind of fun. It's a fun film. It really is.
It is. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's one of the movies that will kind of gross you out and appall you, but at the same time, you're going to be impressed with the originality of the originality.
Well, and the thing is, it is over the top in some ways, but it's also very subtle in other ways.
Yeah,
like it's got that very British, department. The way that they think. It's got their, the way that their fabric of society is. It's very much that way. It's not Hollywooded up at all.
No, it's not. It is a very British type of movie. And so it was one that, like I said, as soon as you said underwatched horror movies, I knew what my number one was. I just could not remember the name of it. So I immediately went to Cody, and it took us the better part of like 6 or 8 hours of going through ChatGPT and Google, typing in English movies with a serial killer town, English movie about a cannibal town, and it kept coming up with the same set of movies. And it was like, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it.
Yeah, what's the one where the guys go up for a stag, and it's zombie women, and they all go to they got to survive this town of male haters that are zombies. I forget which one.
I have to look that one up.
There's another British one like that.
Yeah, eventually we found it. It was Inbred. I was thinking, for some reason, I thought it had the word skin in the title. Like I was remembering it as like skins or skinheads or
there was
Walker or something like that. Yeah,
I was going to say Skinwalkers was out around that. Maybe it was late 90s. Yeah.
But anyways, it's Inbred. My number one by far. Perfect. Dr. Giggles and Pieces are the other two that I will, as he stated, I will pound the table over, just because I love them.
But if there's any that we left off, and there's tons that we left off, let Chris know. Let us know.
Yes.
What one would you have put as your top 3 underseen or maybe underrated horror films? Yes. It doesn't have to be any particular genre. It doesn't have to be any particular actor. Just whatever makes your skin crawl.
Yeah, because as much as we like to think we know it all, there are always those movies that will fly either over or under the radar, and you just don't have enough time in the day to.
Like one of the ones I almost put on my list was The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. The Captain of
Okay.
Dr. Caligari is 1922 or whatever it is. It's a
Right.
silent film, but it's so good.
Yeah.
And then if you want to go a little bit, 15 years later, you got Dracula, and you got Frankenstein, and you got the Universal horrors. Then you get into the Hammer horrors. Then you get into the Giallo. Then you get to the Texas Chainsaw Massacres. Then you get into the Satanic Panics. Then you get into the slashers. It's like you can take it as deep as you want.
Yeah, for sure. Any email that you guys want to send my way, any comments, any of that, is riotonthesetmedia@gmail.com, RIOTONTHESET media@gmail.com. As always, you can find me all over YouTube as the Music God Reacts. The Noise Report is being retired. Devil's Night, October 30th. For those of you from the Midwest, you will understand the concept of Devil's Night. The rest of you will probably say, what is Devil's Night? Look it up. We are debuting the new podcast that replaces that is called the Mosh Pit Manifesto. All punk, all metal. We're going to do cool interviews, shorts, and other cool stuff. We're going to have merch. We're going to have swag. We're going to have hats, stickers, and other cool stuff with the logo. And with that said, where do they find you, fine sir?
Well, I just want to thank you, Chris, for letting me come on. It's always a blast, and I'm sure we'll figure out something for next time. Whatever pops into our head at that particular time, and isn't going to keep us up at night. Anybody that enjoyed me or didn't enjoy me, either way. But if you want to hear me, check me out on the Land of the Creeps podcast. We're on all your major podcatchers, Spotify, Apple, etc., etc. Check me out at Music, Movies, Sports, and Stuff, where we talk about pop culture, sports, movies, and everything in between. I'm on all your podcatchers, both Land of the Creeps and Music, Movies, Sports, and Stuff as Facebook groups. We're all over the internet. Check me out. Send me an email. I'm not tough to find. With this last name, I get it butchered all the time. It's easy to find. So thank you, everybody. And if you do have any ideas, shoot them over. If you have any movies we missed, go ahead. I'm sure somebody's screaming and saying, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I just thought that was too popular. Anyways.
The Garbage Pails movie.
Oh, the garbage. Who here likes all the Gremlins knockoffs? Like, all the Munchies and all those ones. Ugh.
Yeah.
Anyways. Tremors, all the Tremors films.
Yes,
Anyways.
Chud, Critters.
Let's be good people. Let's stay sane. I know everybody's going through a lot of crap right now. Let's just keep our eyes on the prize through the forest, through the trees, and enjoy yourself. Elbows up, everybody.
I'll finish it. Be well. Treat each other with kindness. Remember that music heals.